Rather, this is my first walk in a long time that is in silence. I just had a good little cry, which does not happen to me, but it simply happens, you know. I found it strange what my mind can conjure meaning out of. Just like I found it intensely homely and relatable. Just like I found it to be intensely emotional. I wonder in the present moment, what has my past really contained? And you know, with that I mean different things. I mean, what has this life's past contained, but what led me to truly living is a topic that most people see as very simple. They see it as the mother birthed the boy or the girl. I see it as a mirage. Under the thesis or the idea that we live our lives infinitely, meaning there's always something else that awaits us, there never isn't. Under that notion, you know, perhaps I have the right to feel emotion for this is a very big, valid thing I'm going through, where I feel people and spirits from the past have communicated with me enough. Come to understand me and want me to succeed. And you know, this all founded off of schizophrenia. The madness, the horror, that condition that can, or one of the conditions that could drive people to suicide. That for me was, minus its first 2 years, it was never much of a harmful thing. Now, granted, I went through trials. I had to figure out my mind in that process. I had to find the truth. And the truth is, we are at this point, I'm not entirely convinced that wait. Still being harassed. I just wonder what the future holds for me. Because the thing is I have a grand concept of the future. I have an ideological view of the future that blatantly shows and states that it will be very pure for people and very beautiful for people. In order to accomplish something like that, you need a seismic shift to happen. You need a grand change to take place. And what you notice is that in the past, those changes never really came about unless revolutions happened. Now, granted, we ended up being a lot more peaceful to each other as a species, like way more peaceful past a certain point. But I guess the point would be that since our benevolence is based upon a social buildup where people become more and more accustomed to the empathetic emotions that we kind of need in order to just be comfortable on the street and all that. That's what has created respect up to this point. But the thing is if you account for the flaws of our system, we're nearing the limit. Even though so much beautiful things could be done and so much good could be accomplished, we're nearing the limit of what can realistically happen without some kind of grander magical power healing us all, you know? Yet I perceive a future that is excessively bright. But right now, I don't see the world heading in that direction as much as I'd like. People are selfish often, especially in psychopathic attire. And you know, one thing I'd like to make particularly clear, just to change the subject, is that I'm extremely happy with myself, because I believe that I've been going through a process that has meant something to me. And I believe it is to be the best me I can be that this is happening, but that it might even lead to more greener pastures than just that. I think there is a mechanism of pure soul and of beauty and of kindness and of empathy that is repeating itself inside of me, you know? And I think it exists to better my own life and to better humanity and all that. And you know what I ask myself every day? What if I do end up becoming a magician? What if I do end up pulling off the impossible and healing the world? Because see, the thing is this process I've been going through, it's been visually hallucinated, but not in a nefarious way. Just for the point of showing me the process itself and what it means. And see, it's when there are alludements made to you that are like written that say that, for example, brain matter is uniform. Meaning, what if we all lived under the same terms, in the sense that our brain matter is interconnected? So, like, all of the brain matter can differ from each other. Like, two sets of brain matter can differ from each other, of course. But at the same time, it is still all uniform. We just interpret things in different ways. I want you to really consider that, you know. Another thing to consider as well if we are living in a computer, which I know it's edgy and cool to say that we live in a simulation ever since Elon Musk said it or something, but I want you to consider what it really means to be living in a computer. And what would it actually mean to be living in a computer? So consider that. Because that is pretty fucking important if you ask me. I guess another point would be to believe or not to believe in psychics existing. When people think psychic, the first thing they probably think is the Stranger Things TV show or something. We're like, oh, the girl bent a spoon with her natural will, you know, through her psychic ability. Now, what I find interesting about the whole psychic thing is that as an existential concept, it is pretty fascinating. Meaning, like, the implications of, like, us having, like, a power that goes beyond our physical perspective, you know? Wouldn't that alone potentially allocate a worldwide healing phenomenon to happen? Because that's another thing that my process has told me about. It has even given it a name. And you know what's interesting is that this name of sorts, or literally this name, it's almost as if it preemptively existed. Meaning I didn't seek out a cool name, I didn't seek out a cool definition. It just existed. I was immediately just kind of in agreement with its purpose and reasoning. My mind has called it purity. It says it's an inherent phenomenon within the mind. Like, it's like unlocking its chakras. It's not like taking drugs, but if you assume that the wisdom of purity has overcome you, and that you have unlocked it within yourself, then maybe everyone would be happy if they had that. Because a life enhancer that doesn't require a drug sounds like a brilliant idea to anyone. But it would be more than that. It would be a personality enhancer as well. It's interesting. I always have these thoughts in the back of my mind that tell me that I'm clearly turning crazy, guys. I've stopped caring, you know. Stopped caring about shit like that. I just want to be me. So here's the deal. My process is coming to a close, despite the fact that I say it a lot. You know, the other times there were all moments that were like taken away from me, like cheated away from me. Where there were moments that were cheated away from me. Moments where I kind of forgot, but yeah. Sorry. That's no good at all, forgetting something like that. That's not good at all. Oh yeah. Schizophrenia would like try to assert dominance upon me 24/7, you know? And retrospectively, it's like it got to be a lot better though. It's almost like it doesn't even like want to hurt me anymore. But then again, it always then goes and it gives me memory constriction. So I don't wholly get, but it's fading, that's the point. But memory constriction, well, constriction would be to limit something. So my memory becomes limited. I do not seek out the past as well, you know. But the point of the process has been to rebuild that side of things. Because I believe that with my memory will come great treasures. So I'm trying to rebuild my memory. And I think building up an imagination would be a very huge thing. An imagination would be an incredible thing to have. Yeah. I'm just thinking to myself, like, okay, so another clear implication based on my experiences, details. What if I had such a massive imagination that I could never contact with my my body personally? But what if I had a massive imagination that lived in the sky? And what if, like, in my mind, I ended up being like a brilliant inventor? Someone who figured out the yes from the no's. Someone who figured out the whys and all that. I know it sounds weird because I cannot invent a stick man and have it be a proper creation. Yes, I said a stick man. But I believe in my mind there's a very real chance that I have been a brilliant inventor. The only thing that has really shown me that is some dreams I've had. There was this one dream in particular that had this animation playing. And it was just like, afterward I was told by the voices that it was created by me. And it was a very beautifully made animation. And I was thinking to myself the whole time, like, did I just create that? So I was really into it. It's an excessively beautifully made animation. Too many telltales, too many signs that point to the future being accentuated through phenomenons. And I believe that those phenomenons will all lead from the mind. I believe the mind will be what will create the phenomenons. But, yeah. I think in order to find happiness, the path I'm taking, it's like a perfect path to find happiness, So, in order to find happiness, I must persevere. Because the path I'm going down will naturally heal my mind. And yes, I was dealing with schizophrenia ever since 17 and a half, okay? To maybe even 17. And for about 5 months, I didn't hear a peep of voices. I didn't hear a single voice. To the point that I completely got off medication. And then people assumed, he's off medication. That's the reason the voices have returned. When the reality was very simple. It was much more simple than that. The thing is that the voices had to return. The delusions, the hallucinations had to return because, well, maybe they're linked to truths. But I proved it to myself. For 5 months, I didn't have a single hallucination. I proved to myself that I purposely brought about schizophrenia for a reason, Like, I actually do genuinely believe that I made myself suffer through it to reach a goal. Because, well, if you assume that schizophrenia is composed of... like, a force that directly links to life. Like, if you assume that the words that you hear or the hallucinations that you experience have any connection to life that goes beyond just your own warped perspective, then maybe consider what that means, you know? Because, see, the thing is yeah, I just lost my memory again. I'm gonna go. I don't really feel talking anymore regardless. It's fine. I guess it's perfect timing. Alright, well, thank you, homie. Thank you, you beautiful person. I'm just gonna go to bed. Or maybe I'll stay up and I'll listen to some music and I'll jam out. I don't want to see you.